We're in here because today is the election primary for Texas to see who will make it to the actual real deal election this November in this midterms. And Jasmine Crockett, she's been one and she's trying to climb the ranks. She's trying to get her weight up. And she ran for Senate and it had a lot of mixed reaction. Okay. The mixed reaction, some people were saying that they support Jasmine. They love Jasmine's energy. They love the fact that she's against Trump and how bold she is, unapologetic she is, how willing she is to say what's on her mind. Then other people dislike Jasmine. A lot of people, and these are people who are really on the left. A lot of left people don't like Jasmine because Jasmine's kind of wishy-washy when it comes to the subject of APAC, when it comes to the subject of if she supports certain countries and all of that stuff, certain foreign regimes and things like that. She's kind of, indecisive about that, right? Now, here's where I stand. Now, of course, we understand that place is a problem. It's been a problem. My stance is the litmus test when it comes to politicians, and this is something all of us should follow, everybody. The litmus test when it comes to politicians, I would say especially black ones, but everybody, but especially black ones, is the black community. First and foremost, the litmus test when you're asking politicians questions about, getting their vote, first and foremost, number one, okay, is reparations. First and foremost, point blank, period. There is no, well, this foreign government is doing that. I don't care about no type of foreign missiles, no type of foreign nukes. No, I don't care none about that. Okay, we could be at the brink of the end of the world. And I need to know if you're going to sign a check or not. Because if you're not going to sign a check, I guess we might as well just end this thing. All right? And I'm starting to see a lot of people kind of try to take control of the narrative. So if she loses, it's going to be because she supported APAC or APAC supported her, or she didn't stand up as strong and boldly as she should against Gaza or whatever they're going to say. But I submit to you a different thing. I believe if she loses, if she does, she might win now and then lose in the election. If she does lose, it's going to be because of her lack of support, tangible support for foundational black Americans in Texas. We know she's all about illegal immigrants. I mean, she's been about that since we've known her. Surprisingly so, she's also about like boys and girls sports. She's an advocate for that, and it just comes off very weird because you would think, considering her region, she wouldn't really be about that. But she clearly is an advocate for that, and a lot of people don't like that. She told black people we need to kind of just settle down when it comes to asking for cash reparations and accept the fact that we do have environmental reparations. We get environmental reparations, which nobody really knows what that is, but we get environmental justice that she signed, environmental reparations. A lot of people also don't like the antics that she puts on, don't like the stereotypical behavior that she puts on. Okay. A lot of people don't like the neck jerking and the snapping and the kind of stereotypical ghetto hood girl, this home girl behavior that she acts like. And it really stands out because she's around other congressmen and women, and she makes it seem like this is how black people act all of the time, all of that. You can't tell me nothing and all that stuff and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Ever since that blonde body big thing, whatever, that went super viral with her and Nancy Mace. And I'm not siding with Nancy Mace, but like ever since then, it was all like her PR team or something said, "Ooh, that's it. You can be the home girl of Congress." And ever since that, it's been cursing and all of that stuff, and he ain't shit and all that stuff. Like, you don't see nobody else in Congress doing that. You only see Jasmine doing that. Jasmine is very, very loud and stereotypical, and I've said for a fact that she does this on purpose. This is not code switching. This is not her, being her true, authentic self. We're not asking Jasmine to whitewash herself or anything like that. This is Jasmine portraying a character. And she's portraying a character because that party wants that. Okay? And my biggest offense is that she's portraying this stereotypical character, this black girl character, and she doesn't act like that before. She didn't act like that before. She doesn't act like that in real life. But she's portraying that character, and she's not doing anything for black people. And I want it to be known, if she does lose, she's going to lose because black people did not mobilize and turn out and support. Okay? I'm hearing in some places turnout was high. I'm hearing in some places turnout was low. Oh, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, not Nancy Mace. It was Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I thought I was sure it was Nancy Mace. But okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Nancy Mace was another situation. Yeah, Nancy Mace was another situation. She got into it with Nancy Mace. Okay, I'm getting the two switched up. Okay, I'm getting the two switched up. But okay, that makes sense. If she does lose, it's going to be, you're going to see people on TikTok, on the internet, talking about, this is because America doesn't want strong black women in charge, and this is the sexism and misogyny and all of this and all of that, right? That's what they're going to be saying if she does lose. I'm not saying she will. I'm not saying she won't. If she does lose, she's going to say that. That's going to be the same thing that the same thing that they said about Kamala is the same thing they're going to be saying about her if she loses. Also, Kamala did endorse her. Gotta talk about that. Kamala did endorse her. Kamala endorsed her super last minute. I'm talking about super last minute. Like the last week. And she announced a good minute ago. She announced months ago that she was going to be running for Senate. Months ago. And here goes Kamala. The last week, I'm talking about right before everything, talking about she endorsed her. I mean, super last minute, right? Which shows, damn, that's y'all friend, because when Kamala was running, Jasmine was on the front lines endorsing her immediately. Jasmine Crockett endorsed Kamala immediately as soon as Biden stepped out. Now, when it was her turn to get some support, not that Kamala clearly could have got her over the finish line anyway, but when it was Kamala's turn to return that support, she waited last minute. And I think she didn't want to do it just to say she did do it. All right. So I just want to ask this very important question. Is Jasmine Crockett for black people? All right. Is Jasmine Crockett for black people? Given all the situations we got now, because this is election day. So I want to have this conversation today because I thought it was important. And if you guys agree or disagree, you guys can come up. Let me share this out. Zizi, what do you think?
Well, very interesting. I did not know that she was for the boys and girls different sports on each other's sports. I didn't know she was for that. Egregious. Not too sharp on everything she stands for, but just from some of the things that you mentioned that she stands for, I'm like, I don't really see how she for black people and she's for some of these other things. Like that alone, to be honest, that whole confusion, pushing that agenda of boys being and girls, all of that nonsense right there, that's enough for me to say that you can't really be for us, because that's a part of the foundation of, black empowerment is the black nuclear family, and black women playing their role, black men playing their role. So if you ain't really for that, then I don't really see how you can effectively be for black people, even if you say you are. So yeah, that's concerning. For sure. I didn't realize that she was on that type time. But definitely the performative behavior that I've seen multiple times from her, the clips that I keep saying, it's a lot. I've had my own critiques saying that before. Like I get trying to be yourself, trying to break certain, stereotypes or, things of that nature, but I don't know. She just be doing too much sometimes. It's like, girl, you still in a political realm. Reel it in a little bit. Like, damn, So, yeah. But I think, again, like you said, I think that's the perfect way to put it, that, she's kind of like the, what you say, the political homegirl?
The homegirl of Congress.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a perfect way to put it, because that's honestly the role that, at least from what I've seen, that she's been playing. I haven't seen her say anything, make no real stances on reparations and on things of that nature that actually would, again, progressively affect Black Americans. So, I can't say, I'm not going to say that she's not, but from what I've seen, I damn sure can't say that she is. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
All right. Now, another thing I do got to say, there is this narrative going out that Jasmine Crockett is Haitian.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that. There's this narrative going out. I haven't seen where that really comes from, and I haven't seen any evidence that substantiates that. So I'm not going to say that for sure. I haven't seen anything. I've heard people kind of speculate she might be, because, her, origins and everything like that is kind of vague, or whatever the case is. But I haven't seen any type of evidence, to be honest, that she is. So, and I will say, the way I do with Brandon Johnson is the way I'm going to do with her. If I don't know for a fact, I'm not just going to say it. Yeah. I'm not just going to say, well, yeah, you are, because I don't like you. No, I'm not going to say that. If I got proof, I will show the proof. If there's overwhelming evidence, then I'm going to say most likely, but I haven't seen any evidence in this situation.
Now, I will say I did see something that's a little concerning, or maybe adds to that narrative, because I seen a lady exposing her, because she says she's like a Texas girl. She's a Texan, but apparently she's originally from like the Midwest. I don't know how true that is, but she was saying, I don't know why you're trying so hard to give that you're from Texas when you're really from the Midwest. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's a little weird.
St. Louis. That's
okay, St. Louis. Okay, yeah. So I'm like, that's a little weird to be not claiming St. Louis. I don't know. Even for you to be in Texas or be, a congresswoman for Texas, that's still, I don't know. It's kind of weird, for you not to try to deny that or act like you're not really from. I don't know. So that could be some tether behavior. I don't know. I don't know. Could be, could not be. I don't know. That's the greatest stuff. Yeah. If she is.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. We not. Yeah, it could be. Let's BX, what do you think? Let's start letting people.
I was waiting patiently, sort of impatiently, but patiently. So I think she kind of enamored us when she did the "you badly built bleach," bad body built bleach, blah blah blah. But that was it. It should have been a one-hit quitter, right? Because we are at a time, especially during this time, where we want our candidates, our representatives, to be a little bit more serious. But I understand the quick snap back when you feel a white tea person playing in your face. I get it. But I knew something was up remember when AOC was campaigning around with Bernie Sanders? They was doing protests, this and that, and Jasmine was up there doing a not like me challenge. And then she had plans. They were saying she might run for president. I said, she's their puppet, and AOC is going to be the Dems' true golden girl. So I knew they was kind of putting Jasmine out there, but they were going to pull the rug from under her, right? She was going to do all these antics and stuff, but they don't want a sister girl in office. They want the AOCs in office, to be honest, the Democrat Party. So that's what I got to say about that. We can't prove that she's anything other than what she presents to be at this time. at this time. Maybe she'll come out and she'll say, hey, look, I got some immigration in my background, but none of us have done her genealogy or have even seen it, right? And some people from her church do say she's of the lineage. My thing is that even people of the lineage, no matter if they got one grandparent who may be immigrant or 4 full foundational Black American grandparents, we have to understand that some of our politicians are compromised. Jasmine is compromised because she watched all these people get money who never paid taxes in this land. Their ancestors ain't dropped no blood in this land. Their people ain't fight for nothing in this land. Watch them get money without pushback, but the moment Doge was about to be examined and people, Trump and Elon was talking about some type of rebate, we're not in the habit of giving out money. Reparations should be environmental. I don't know what's environmental reparations either, because that's a city council meeting, not reparations, ma'am. So she's compromised, even if she is fully of the lineage, and she's not somebody who I would want to represent any of us in any state, any city, any county. Remember, she said the South was poor. Some of
She
our
said
people,
broke. She was almost making fun of it. You like, y'all broke.
Fucking
right,
crazy.
which is really crazy because a
Absolutely
lot of
crazy.
people from the North, and I always argue the reverse migration started in the 70s. A lot of people from anywhere throughout the North, and I'm going to surmise California and the North and the Midwest, will migrate back to the South and do a lot better than they did in the places where they were raised at. It just happens, right? So the South isn't broke. There's a lot of opportunity for the South. We're primarily in the South at a time where they can migrate freely, don't have to worry about, well, we always got to worry, but not in such a manner as back in the days, right? So I always knew Jasmine Crockett is a little compromised. I'm not for Jasmine Crockett. It's not the fact that she's, I don't know. It's not that I don't want to see other Black women do better. I want them to be better representatives for us. Stop throwing us under the bus.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Yeah. Let's get to Ishmael.
What's up? What's up? How we doing this evening?
We good, brother. We good.
Yeah. So let me read the prompt. So it say, "Is Jasmine Crockett for Black people?" I think she out for us.
1 minute, you wasn't listening. I said ethnic group. Ethnic group
Oh,
first,
my fault.
Ishmael, and I'm
My
familiar
fault.
with you, but just for the room, go ahead, Ish.
I'm 26-year-old. I'm an FBA / ADOS. Okay, so is Jasmine Crockett for Black people? I think she out for herself, honestly. I think she have her own agenda. I'm not completely privy to all of her policies, but I do know I seen something disturbing a couple months ago when she was talking about immigration and she was comparing ICE to slave patrol. I have a very big issue with that because as someone who is most likely a descendant of chattel slavery, and even if she not, I mean, it's like, why are you comparing our struggle to their struggle? Like that's so disingenuous to me, and that I don't have any tolerance for that. Cause I mean, if you'll allow them into our struggle, who else you'll allow into our struggle for your benefit? She said, let me see. She said that it was like a slave mentality for Latinos to support ICE. Excuse me. Yeah, that was disturbing to me because like you pretty much allowing all these other groups to kind of just wiggle their way into what we got going on and the mission that we trying to accomplish. And that create a domino effect in my opinion that we don't need. But that's the midterms. That's the number one thing I feel like we should focus on. As FBAs, ADOS, freedmen, indigenous, however you want to paint it, that's just my opinion that we got to be strict when it comes to that, and when it comes to the politicians that we intend to elect in the office.
Yeah, I agree. We have somebody in the chat room who disagrees. Grillo, I've sent several invites to. And I want everybody to know, Grilla doesn't want to come up because he's quote unquote at work right now. Although he's heavy in the chat room, and that's always the excuse that they use. I'm at work. I can't do it right now. I'm at work. Okay. But you're in the chat room, okay, typing in whole paragraphs. Now, I want you guys to understand the people you're in a factory, well, you on your phone. But anyway, you still on your phone. You typing, I'm at work on my phone in the factory. You on your phone. So the people who want to be in the chat, oh, there you go. I guess your boss let you take a break. Okay, let's get to Grilla. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are your people from? Ethnically.
Born in the Bronx, raised in Harlem, and I live in Connecticut now.
Where ethnically, where's your family background from?
Carolina.
So you're
North
a
Carolina.
foundational Black American then, right?
Pretty much. My family, nobody mentioned nothing about an African to me as far back as I can remember. And,
Okay, all right then. Well, we don't have to
yeah,
debate that all night, right?
yeah.
You disagree with what we're saying in this live so far?
Well, not really. I'm just saying, we got to get behind some damn body. Somebody got to hold the flag, and so far, she the only damn one up there. So I mean, why tear her down?
Okay. So you said somebody got to hold the flag, right? Hold the flag for what? What flag exactly?
To get us from under this effed up system. Somebody got to do it.
Okay.
Let me go out. Let me go outside.
Yeah,
Let me move away from this machine.
Be specific in what you mean.
Well, I mean, I'm 65 years old. I done seen a lot of BLK, African American, shit. I got colored on my goddamn birth certificate, and they do a good job. They do a good job of separating us. At some point, we're gonna have to get 10 toes down behind somebody that at least doing something.
What? Okay. What is Jasmine? Okay, let me ask. Okay. What is Jasmine Crockett doing for Black people?
Oh, I don't know. I ain't really follow her that much. I just see her up there trying to do something.
Okay.
So, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. And let me say something. I think this is where we're having this issue, and I'm not trying to make no age divide right here, but this is what happens when we have a lot of people who are just so used to being a Democrat and just blindly going Democrat no matter what. You're in the chat room and you're getting frustrated. I can see that you're getting frustrated in the chat room for our lack of support of Jasmine. And then you can't really advocate for Jasmine. You can't tell us a good reason why we should vote for Jasmine or get behind Jasmine, but you're saying we should get behind Jasmine. And this is something that hold on, brother. This is
you got it.
but this is something that the Democratic Party has been able to do for generations, and now we're trying to break this cycle where all they got to do is be Black and then be very loud and in the camera, and then you just have this obligation to support them and get behind them, despite the fact that there's no real policy that we're getting behind. We're getting really behind a character. At that point, we're just getting behind a character, and it would just be symbolism at that point for us to get behind her.
All right, you may make a comment now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of see it as this ain't the time to be nitpicking, okay? Because this dude that's in there right now is out to destroy everything that had any color on it.
Okay.
He is. He definitely is. He's got nothing for us. And he's erasing all the little steps that we made throughout the years. Every time we get an inch, we got several inches. He's kicking the ladder down on everything that we tried to get out of this hole with. my thing is anybody but his ass. And every time somebody does get up there to defend our cause as melanated people, because I don't like all the labels. There's too
Oh,
many damn. Nope.
I
I'm sorry. Go
can I
ahead.
can I ask you
Want to
to
know
be
what
more
I'm
specific? To be more specific, you're saying that Jasmine Crockett is defending our cause.
Well, maybe not her. Somebody
Okay.
got to
Now,
goddamn
do
do
you
it.
see how you don't, bro? Okay. Sorry. And
Who?
I'm really
Who?
trying to be respectful because you did come up and we're having a respectful back and forth. But do you see how this is not helping her? Because you're a stan, or what we would call a supporter, right? Advocate for her, and you have no reason to be an advocate for her except you don't like Donald Trump. She's
No.
not running,
I'm
brother.
sorry.
Brother. She's not running against Donald Trump.
Well, who else can we? Who else can we rally behind?
Somebody who does
Uh,
something for black people. That's who we
Is
should
there
rally
anybody?
behind.
Who? Is there anybody? Who? Who?
Not, there's a couple of people.
Well, give me one, because I
Maybe
want you know
Carla
I want.
Cunningham.
Yeah,
Maybe
there's a
If I,
few.
Give
maybe
me.
if
Carla
I may,
Cunningham.
if I
Give me
may,
somebody.
brother,
Give me.
Get behind her.
Give
brother,
me
I got
somebody.
behind her. I
brother,
donated to her campaign. I'm rocking
brother
with her.
Grilla,
Yeah, there's
brother
Pamela
Grilla.
Oh,
Denise
okay.
Long. You
I
know,
don't, I don't think it's very conducive to black people to try to rally behind anyone. Rally behind yourself, sir. You don't need to run behind someone as a leader. We don't need any leaders, sir. You look in the mirror. You are the leader.
I'm doing my thing, man. I've been helping. I had like 8 barbershops, and when I came on the scene, I started teaching these kids, don't go get a pew pew, get a pair of clippers. Now I had 100 kids under my wing. Now there's 50 barbershops in the town that I came to. When I came there was 3.
okay,
I'm doing my thing.
let's not get off track here.
I think we do
I'm
need a
doing.
vote though.
Because hold on, we have a full panel of people, so let's move on to the next speaker so we can. I'm not going to drop you, but we're just going to move on to the next speaker. There's people want to talk and weigh in on the subject, so I
Okay,
want you to stay. I want you to stay.
yeah.
That way,
I'm
maybe
gonna
you
go
can
back
listen
in.
to other people's opinion and get
Yeah, yeah.
information and all that stuff. All right.
Okay, I will, but I got to go back in the building.
Okay. All
Where
right.
it's
You can just
loud.
mute and listen.
All right. Yep.
Or if you do have to leave, just stay in the room. How about that?
I'll stick around. I
All
ain't
right.
really doing that. I'm just putting together some more jet engine parts for them ones that got knocked down out there.
All right. Cool. All right. You got it.
He seems like a
Afro.
cool older FBA brother, but I
Yeah.
just don't think it's conducive to be choosing the lesser of two evils. We ain't got nobody, so we gonna pick some bullshit. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't think that's conducive.
there's not like, well, I agree with this policy. I agree with her stance on this. I agree with her stance on this. It's like, well, I mean, she's not Trump. Okay, we're going to have to do a lot better than that.
Now, that the standard is in hell. The flow. I mean, come on,
We're
bars
going
in
to have
hell
to
with
do a lot better than
that.
that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
crazy.
Let's get to,
Afro.
huh?
One of Sister Ani, Mama Ani would like to know, how do we get people dropped? So, if you didn't know, when there is a panel full and some people just aren't agreeable with the chat, people will send up a galaxy or a dinosaur to have somebody drop. Hell, I drop them for 100 coins. I just put that in the air just because I told her I would bring that to your attention
Yeah.
in
But
case you ever
he's not able
decide
to
to
talk
do
right now
that.
anyway. So we're going to,
Oh, okay.
get the panel full of people who can actually talk. So, but going forward. Yeah. How about that? We can do that. Let's get to, Nisha.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. And I'm sorry, what things that y'all want to know about me?
Just your ethnic background and if you're over 18.
Oh yeah, I'm over 18 and I am I'm Black American.
All right.
And I do think that she's for black people.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. There was coins and all that. You think I'm sorry, say that again.
I was saying I think she is for black people. I know one of the biggest issues that she worked on in Texas, and I'm actually from Texas, she protected access to voting. what else did she do? She introduced a Restoration Act, basically to allow convicts and people who were, initially barred from voting to vote. And that issue, impacts Black Americans a lot, more heavily because of disparities in, incarceration rates. And that's the same thing that Stacey Abrams did in Georgia. I used to live in Georgia. I lived there for about 10 years. And I voted for Warnock and Ossoff when I was there. But that's when they had flipped Georgia blue. And the reason why they were successful in doing that is because of Stacey Abrams being booed she had her boots on the ground, and she went out there and got these people registered to vote who, before couldn't. So much. Y'all said a lot. So I also wanted to say, she's not a tether. She's not a Haitian. She is from St. Louis, but she's lived in Dallas or in Houston for sure for at least 20 years. So she's been there a while. The first time I ever heard about her was during the Black Lives Matter movement, and she was taking on a lot of their cases. Not saying that she was part of the movement, per se, but she did take on a lot of cases during that time and was helping during that time. So yeah, I think she's good for us. I feel like she, does a lot for her community. Yeah, and she's from Texas. Her dad, I think, is a pastor. Her mom was a UPS, or I'm sorry, USPS worker. She did say the South was poor. I don't know who said that earlier, but I was on here. She did say the South was poor, but that wasn't in a negative way. She was just basically saying that a lot of Southern states have higher poverty rates than the national average, which is true, like Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. And she argued that, the southern states, they reject federal programs like Medicaid. And that refusal, I guess, in her view, keeps poor communities from getting healthcare resources. So when she was referencing the South being poor, she was talking about the, economic statistics, not saying that Southerners themselves are inferior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What is your stance on reparations for slavery?
My stance on reparations for slavery? Yeah. I think that we should receive reparations for slavery.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so we agree on that. What is a litmus test you would say you would have for a politician? Black, white, anything. Like if they ask you for a vote, this is the first and foremost important question that you have to answer correctly on. And if you answer incorrectly, you're not getting my support. No matter what else follows this. This question is my first and foremost. You reaching, bro. I'm not okay. I'm asking a question, man. But you might be. We'll let people up. We're having a good adult, mature conversation.
I guess like support for racial justice policies would be the first thing. So, support for women's rights would be important for me. It's a lot of different variables, though. I don't think I'm not a person that's just absolute. So I would need to, also with me being a Libra, I can't really make just choices. So I would have to be more than one thing.
Okay.
Just be honest.
Okay. Well, to me, and to a lot of people in the room, mine is reparations, slavery reparations for Black Americans. And the reason why I'm being so specific is because that is going to determine your willingness to do anything. Now, let me be honest. Jasmine in Senate, even if she did become a senator, she couldn't give reparations. That's not her ability to do so. She doesn't have the authority to do so. However, her stance on that is going to give me a good indication on what she's going to approve or not approve going forward when it comes to the Black American community. Because when it comes to the immigrants, illegal, legal or illegal, she makes it abundantly crystal clear where she stands on their support, what needs to happen, legislation, anti-ICE, all of that stuff. Then when it comes to Black Americans, it's, we get these very vague, ambiguous, untangible things that environmental justice or racial justice, what that means, all of these things that you kind of gotta dissect and break down and find out exactly what that means when it comes to boys who quote unquote transition into girls and then go in their sports. She makes it abundantly clear that she supports that and she doesn't have an issue with that. So when it comes to certain things, she makes it abundantly clear where she stands on those issues. But when it comes to Black Americans, then it's like, well, reparations, I mean, I get it. We'll see all of this stuff. So that's why she's not going to have my support on that, you know.
Well, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I think Jasmine Crockett is for reparations for Black people. I can't fact check that right now, as I'm not in front of a computer. But she is. In interviews, I believe she said that reparations, if they were implemented, they should be directed specifically to people who are descendants of enslaved Americans, not just anybody who identifies as Black. I do know that for sure. But please fact check me,
Yeah,
please.
the thing is that there's a lot of people who, if they are quote unquote in support of it, which she's been I will say she's had multiple interview questions about that. And at best I can give her is that she's open to the idea. Now, I wouldn't even say supportive of it. There's been times where she's been open, but my thing is that when does she bring reparations up? You don't see her bringing reparations up ever on her own. She never brings up reparations on her own. However, she will bring up immigrants on her own. That's a concern for her. She will bring up trans kids on her own. That's a concern for her. She will bring up Medicare on her own. She will bring up reproductive rights, and I was about to say something else. She will bring up reproductive rights. She will bring up all of these other things on her own because that's her concern.
But I
When
think
it
that's
comes to
also what people
reparations,
are focusing on right now.
she doesn't have nearly as strong of a stance, and she's known for giving very strong, clear stances on things.
But I think the reason why she's talks about immigration and those things because those are what's the hot topic right now. But like I said, I've been knowing about her since the BLM movement, and yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what's on the center stage right now, and it's voting time, and so she has to talk about the stuff that she feels like everybody wants to know about. But yeah.
What do you think about illegal immigration? That's my last question. Then we're gonna move on because I want everybody else to get a chance to weigh in. What do you think about illegal immigration and its effect on the Black community?
I feel like illegal immigrants, you should be legal coming into the country. I feel like you shouldn't come to the country illegally. Now, how it affects Black people, I do feel like they're taking up sources or resources that Black people could be getting. So I feel like that's or is unfair and unequal because y'all not even supposed to be here. So illegal immigrants, that's how I feel.
Illegal immigrants in particular, but even legal immigrants, right? But what would you feel about a politician that supports that? That doesn't support ICE, demonizes ICE and all that stuff, and wants the illegal immigrants to stay. What do you think about that?
That was another reason I think why I had came up here because there was a guy up here saying that she compared ICE to the slave catchers or something like that. Yeah, or saying that similar to slave patrols. I think that's what he said. I think her point was that modern immigration raids involve stopping people, asking for documentation. The same thing that the slave patrollers used to do to the slaves. I don't think that she was really saying that they are like the slave patrol. She also said the same thing that ICE is like the SMOTC style raids or Gestapo. For the tiny hat people. So I don't think that she was trying to say one is was more effective than the other, but I think that's why she had brought that up because I do remember her saying that they were like slave patrols.
Bro.
Yeah.
So you probably doing the same thing I'm doing because I don't see you in the frame there. But so I looked up Jasmine Crockett, if she's in support of reparations for foundational Black
That's what I was
Americans
doing.
without, but I put this key word, without mentioning other communities. She's for race-based, to put it short, she's for race-based reparations for the descendants of the Africans who were enslaved in America. Basic. The tether on turns the air in way to describe slavery and make it race-based, which will never fly. So she's actually for studies of examining the harms for those who were are descendants of African enslaved persons. You know, that verbiage there. Don't even have the right verbiage.
Even even if let's say she is for it, right? We know that is at the very lowest of her priority list.
Right.
She's made that abundantly clear what is first and foremost for her priority list. You can go to her campaign website. You don't see nothing about reparations. Nothing.
You're a liar,
Or
Lisa,
Black
baby.
Americans in particular.
So Obama, I do know, didn't show up to a reparations commission hearing, right? But I know at the same time Farrakhan was heading to the Brits, and I need to wonder what happened when Farrakhan was supposed to go over there. It was a big to do. We already understood who Obama was by that time, so you can't say we didn't ask of Obama, what we are now asking of Crockett. So you can't play that card with us, man. We've always called out Obama for not giving us reparations even when he was in office. He didn't even show up to the damn meeting.
Let's get to
Oh my God.
let's get to Sage. We're gonna get to Sage and then unwritten, basic, and then we're gonna move on.
Hi, Sage.
Gotta get everybody up in here.
Just real quick. Again, when we talk about specifics for the lineage, there is no politician currently doing anything specifically for us. I know the sister, I want to say she was definitely being genuine. But again, if you're talking about healthcare for all, you're talking about immigration. Again, you're on a panel right now with people that don't really care for immigration. So not everyone is interested in that. I don't know how it is in Texas because I don't live in Texas, but at the same time, again, that's like saying affirmative action is for Black people. It's not. Just for the panel the panel already knows that, but for the people listening, affirmative action is not only just for Black people. A lot of people can benefit off affirmative action. So when you do this all-inclusive thing that Jasmine tends to do a lot, that's problematic. Now, when you say that she represents us, again, like my brother Afro said, when you go to her page, she represents trans, she'll represent immigrants. These are people that are not necessarily voting her in, especially the illegal immigrants. They can't vote for you. So what she should do as an elected official is basically throw red meat to her constituents. The one thing I would say about the current president and his base is that he gives them what they ask for. The problem with the Democrats is that they don't give us anything that we are demanding, and they still demand our vote. So what I would say with that is that is Jasmine Crockett for Black people? Absolutely not. She is basically representing herself. I don't necessarily see her as someone that speaks out for the people, because when you ask me, is someone for Black people, immediately what comes to mind would be someone like Martin, Malcolm, Medgar Evers, someone like that. It won't be any elected official that's currently in office, because again, I don't see them doing that. Again, and the sister brought up, what's the girl that lost in Georgia?
Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams. Again, what was Stacey Abrams basically planning specifically for her people? If she's not a Caribbean tether or whatever the case is, what is she planning specifically for her people? And I don't remember ever seeing her saying what she was going to do for her people. Let me break this down, because people are gonna say, well, you can't do something specific. The current mayor of New York is Zohran Mamdani. He already basically made it so that not only he's basically making it so that not only Jewish people get hate crime bills, but if you discriminate against anyone of the Muslim faith, which is his faith, you can also get hit with hate crime laws against you. So again, when people say things, and also in New York, also, what's her name? Letitia James, my best friend, Letitia James. When the Asians were quote unquote being attacked and during the whole 19 era, she made it so that there was a hotline in New York that you can call specifically, for Asians being attacked, and that was something specific for that group of people. So again, these are just examples of things that can happen for a specific group of people. Now, again, I ask, this woman is running, I believe, for a senator seat. What are you going to do, Jasmine, that's going to benefit the people that are going to vote you in? Because you're clearly asking for black votes. What are you going to do for that vote besides you just wearing black skin? Because again, we've seen that with Obama. We've seen a person in the White House wear black skin and got nothing for it. Matter of fact, Obama is what woke people like myself, people like Afro, people like ZZ, BX, other people up to what's really going on out here. Because we wasn't like this before. So again, I would need to know, to the sister Jasmine Crockett, what are you going to do specifically to earn those votes? And do not tell me something like, well, trans rights. I don't care about what's going on in your bedroom. I don't care. All I care about is what's going on in my bedroom. Whenever I leave my bedroom, it's all business. Inside the bedroom, it's a little different. But again, and sometimes that's business too. But anyway, I'm currently in my bedroom. But anyway, but what I'm saying is stop.
You said it, Sage. Ain't nobody saying nothing. You told people stop.
Right.
What I'm saying is that nah, in all seriousness, like, we need to take all the the SCX out of it, meaning like, the alphabet people, take that out. What are you going to do tangibly for the people that are voting you in? And with that, I'm gonna land.
And if I recall correctly, yeah. Actually, if you guys remember, Stacey Abrams said no to reparations. She was asked about
Yeah.
reparations at an event or something like that, and she said no and walked off. There's a couple. So Stacey Abrams ain't no reparationist like that either. So let's be very clear with that. Okay. Now let's get to our sister Unwritten.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
And
We good. How you doing?
Hey.
Yeah.
Can I join the panel, please? Yeah, it's a lot of people who wanna. Everybody wanna join, but we gotta let everybody speak first before we cycle the panel out and all that. So go ahead, Unwritten.
Sure thing. So I also did a little analysis like BX. And I wanted to basically see what was the legislative focus for Jasmine Crockett in her tenure across broader national policy, immigration, LGBTQ, women, veterans, Black Americans explicitly, and Black Americans disproportionately impacted. Meaning, if it's not specifically targeted for Black Americans, it is disproportionate to the point where we know that you're attempting to target, right? And I did this view for Jasmine, Kamala Harris, Trump, and Obama. So for Jasmine, broader national policy, 60 to 70%. Immigration, 10 to 15. LGBTQ, 5 to 10. Women, 3 to 5. Veteran, 3 to 5. Black Americans at the bottom of the list, 2 to 5. I looked at Kamala. Broader national policy, 55 to 65. Immigration policy, 10 to 15. LGBTQ, same. Women, 8 to 12. So it's a little bit more support for women. Veterans, 3 to 5. Black Americans at the bottom of the list, 3 to 6. Trump, Broader policy, 65 to 75. Immigration, 8%. LGBTQ, 0 to 1.
Damn.
Women, 1 to 3. Veterans, 8 to 12. Black Americans, 2 to 5. Obama, 65 to 75. Immigration, 8 to 12. He actually beats them. LGBTQ, 5 to 8. Women, 5 to 8. Veterans, same. Black Americans, 2 to 4. My point, when I look at this, I give more of a responsibility on Black senators, Black quote unquote presidents, Black representatives. Why is it that Trump is matching in support with all of these Black representatives? Like, I would expect that to be for Trump. But for literal quote unquote Black representatives, why are we dead last on your legislative focus? And so I think we asked the question, it's like, is she for Black people? I can say, I'm sure you can do this analysis for pretty much any politician. And I think it's going to fare out relatively close. The reality is that we are not being prioritized in our own country by these politicians. And so it's difficult to get us to advocate for anyone at this point, in my opinion, regardless of quote unquote skin color. Because if you're not specifically advocating for my community, how can you expect any of my support? And I don't think we've demanded per se from these candidates that we're going to support Obama, Kamala, or Jasmine, or anyone else who particularly targets our community for support. If we're expecting specific agendas for them, for our community, and our support needs to be predicated on that. But I implore all of you to, and it's a quick ChatGPT analysis, just to see what policy that they supported, specific to their state as well as broader Black American communities, and give your support based on that. So I'll end there.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Sage, I see you want to drop down for right now, so I'm going to just drop you down, bring somebody else up real quick. We're going to get to basic.
What's going on, everybody?
Peace.
Yeah, so as far as Jasmine Crockett, I think we can all agree that she is not for Black people. I think the fact that it's even a question to be answered lets you know that she's not for Black people, considering that she's a Black woman. And she tries to put on this personality of what she deems as a typical Black woman, but it just comes off as disrespectful. I agree with Afro. I feel like at this point, if you don't have something that is simple and cut to the chase for Black people, specifically for Black Americans, there's really no conversation to be had at this point. We've been giving empty votes for so long at this point that I mean, don't even ask for our votes at this point, because what are we getting in return besides wasting gas money? You know what I'm saying? Like, we just going and it's sad that we had that elder up here and we have people with that mindset that, hey, we got to vote for somebody. Like, what I just don't get that mindset. And I'm glad that we as a people, more and more of our people are getting away from that. Like, we have to demand something from these people or they cannot ask us for nothing. Like, if you don't come with something that you are going to benefit our community and don't treat us like children, the only people in the world who get taught to share everything are children. Don't tell us that, oh, you're going to give us something to share with all these other groups. No, we need something that's specifically for our people and our community. All this sharing, these so-called marginalized people, because they get all types of stuff that they don't share with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can go down a list of these other groups who get certain things that Black Americans do not have access to. So the fact that we have to have these conversations and ask these people the same questions and we're not getting anything in return, but you still have Black people who still believe that you just need to vote anyway, is absolutely ridiculous. Our ancestors, when, you know, their solution, and it always worked, was if we ain't getting what we want, we just gonna stop supporting altogether. It didn't matter how long it was gonna take. We boycotted a whole bus system for over a year. Not none of this boycott for a weekend BS that a lot of people want to do. You know what I'm saying? So Jasmine Crockett, she's she's an embarrassment in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? But the people who want to support her, hey, more power to you. But until y'all can actually like show something tangible that we can actually get behind, like she's really for us instead of everybody else, I don't feel like we need to support any of these people. You know what I'm saying? I like the direction we going in, and I'll land there.
All right. Cool. Appreciate that. We're going to move on to Chrono. But before we do that, I want to just reiterate the standard, our standard. I know my standard. I'm pretty sure everybody else pretty much has their own standard and is similar to mine, right? Our standard is not out of proportion. Our standard isn't wild. Our standard isn't unreachable. It's not like that. Okay. We're not asking for the moon and the stars. We're not asking for all of that. We're saying we see that you have a specific agenda and legislation for specific groups of people, whether they be, you know, LGB, or whether they be, you know, women's rights, or whether they be immigrants or whatever. You have specific things that you would do for people. And what we're saying is that why should we receive shared benefits when you are showing you are willing to give specific benefits? You're willing to give specific benefits here and here and here and here. But when it comes to us, it's like, okay, well, everybody got this, and you get to benefit what everybody else gets to benefit from. That's what we're saying with that. All right. So, Chrono, you got it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing me up. I'm a Black American foundational. I don't have any immigrant background. As far as Jasmine Crockett is concerned, is she for Black people? What I would say, from my personal, what I know about Jasmine Crockett, I would say yes, because I don't know much about her. She's very new, but what I do know about her is that she was a civil rights attorney, and she worked on a lot of civil rights cases in Texas for Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. And she was very outspoken about the voting rights in her district, to make sure they was secure for Black people, because they were, I think Greg Abbott, whatever his name is, was trying
Greg Abbott.
Abbott, yeah. He was trying to basically like cripple the Black community and make it illegal for them to to drink water in line. And he was forcing them all to go vote on one day in the summertime, and it was hot, and they had elderly people. And she was very outspoken about that. And I think that she made some progress with that to kind of like get those laws pulled back a little bit, so Black people didn't have to really feel like they had to go through boot camp just to put in a vote. Like, it kind of reminded me of how they had Black people counting the jars and stuff like that back in the day. But so she was very outspoken about that. And I know she's a very big advocate for raising the minimum wage in her district and nationally, even though she cannot pass any legislation because she's just a congresswoman. All she can do is advocate for her constituents. But she's very vocal about the minimum wage needing to be raised up. I'm not getting paid minimum wage, but I know that will impact a lot of people in our community in a positive way. And I know her district is like half and half. I know her district is like 40% Hispanics, and then it's like 60% or 55% Black. And so I know that she's playing both sides of the fence because and then some white people too. They all voted her in, and she's trying to give everybody a piece of the pie of what they want, which I know can be difficult. I do think she needs to be more outspoken on like reparations and things like that. I know BX talked about the comments that she said about reparations. She wasn't against it, but she didn't really go all out with it to say like she hasn't advocated for it. And I would love to see her like advocate for reparations for Black Americans. But again, like I said, she's new. Prior to her being a congresswoman, she was a civil rights attorney. I want to see what she can do. I think that Jasmine Crockett, like the impression that I get from her, she's trying to really get involved with her district and listen to her constituents. I don't live in Texas. I'm in North Carolina, but I feel like if the more popular she gets, I think that if Black people are vocal to Jasmine Crockett about what we need and expect from her, I think that we could hold her accountable and maybe push her in a direction that she would advocate more for the things that we're talking about on this panel. But I just haven't really seen her constituents advocating for these things that we're talking about. So, but as far as her being pro-Black or not, I do think she's pro-Black.
When you say hold her accountable, what do you mean? What does that mean? Exactly. What in your opinion does that mean?
Because we're saying that, I know some issues come up about like she's not really talking about issues that directly impact Black Americans directly, and if I was in her position, I don't know what that is like to be a congressperson. I don't know what it's like to have 40% of my constituents Hispanic, 60% white and 50% Black, and trying to really give everybody something that they need.
She has 40% Hispanic, 60% white, and 50% Black. How's that work?
I know for a fact that her constituents in her district where she lives at in North Texas,
that's 150%.
I'm just going to say, like, as far as the white part, I don't know if it's 60% white, but I know for a fact in her district that as far as her constituents are at least 40% Hispanic. It's about 50% Black people that are her constituents. I don't know what the white number is, but I'm assuming it's more white people in her district. Every time I see her out rallying, it's mainly white people out there. To be honest, I see a few.
I can answer that.
I was about to say we can find that out right now.
Yeah. So Black 40%, Latino 36, white 17, Asian 3.
Okay, yeah. So you got the
say that one more time. Say that one more time. Black
40%, Latino 36, white 17, Asian 3. Okay. Multiracial 2.
All right.
Yeah, so she has a
mixed, but a little bit more Black, which is what I thought.
I guess I was mixing up like the population of her district and not her constituents. So it's a lot of white people in her district, but they probably don't vote for her. But I feel like even with that though, like those are the people who are her constituents, and she has to like kind of like cater to all of them. But I feel like as far as holding her accountable, I think that if we want her to be, or the people in her district that are privy to these conversations, and we want her to be more vocal about reparations, and we want her to have a solid stance on that, and hold her accountable for that. Like, hey, this is what we want from you. This is what we expect from you. We need to vocalize that and see what she does with that information. But again, the district that she's representing, I don't know what they are.
Okay. Let me jump in real quick. When I hear people, and this is why I ask you, when I hear people say the whole holding a politician accountable, when I ask people, what does that mean once they get in office? After you elect them, not when they're running again, not when they're leaving office or anything like that. After they get in office, what do you do? Hold them accountable. What does that mean besides voicing being upset? What does that mean besides, I guess, sending emails or showing a protest? They're already in office. And then I think that what you're doing is you're really kind of giving her a lot of grace to say, well, she's not trying to upset her very mixed constituents. Okay, that's fair. I get it. Okay, politics, I get it. However, her doing something specifically for the Hispanic community, she doesn't say that, well, that's going to upset my Black constituent, so I can't do anything specific for Hispanic folk. I can't do anything specific for them, and that's going to upset my white constituents. You know what I'm saying? So she's doing specific things for her specific demographic. The only people who's not getting anything specific are black people, right? Now, you said the thing about civil rights attorney. I've heard of that. I don't know of too many cases where she worked with black people, but and I'll give her that. I'll give her that. Even though you being a civil rights attorney nowadays doesn't mean fighting for black people. We're not talking about civil rights attorneys in the 1960s. Civil rights attorneys today fight for pretty much any and everybody. Okay, so that doesn't give you any points on the black people side. All right, but as far as her legislation is what we're saying, her legislation and her campaign doesn't convey pro-black anything. It does convey pro-immigrant. It does convey pro-LGBT. It does convey pro reproductive rights. It does convey anti-Trump. It does convey anti-ICE. It does convey all of those things. But as far as pro-black, you don't get that. You don't get that vibe. You know, the fact that we got to search and dig and comb through and dissect and break down and all that stuff, you don't have to do that with any other stance in any other demographic. But when it comes to black people, we're chomping at the bit and we're like combing through to find something pro-black. You know, that's, it's not that great of a look. Even when you talk about raising the minimum wage, that's not a black policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a black policy. With her being a
1 minute before you go. 1 minute. 1 minute. To that person named Lisha with the cherries, I gotta tell you, stop spinning the narrative that we HATE that lady. We don't HATE that lady. We are allowed as Black Americans, right, descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, to dissect the politicians' actions, their policies, and what they can do for Black Americans. Nobody will get our vote blindly anymore. It's not a matter of HATEing a lady, but her actions doesn't give us much to like in the first damn place. Go to her and ask her why she won't change some of them policies to be more inclusive of foundational Black Americans, be stronger in her verbiage for Black Americans to get reparations. And when you do that, please do it quietly as you leave and exit, unless you're taking the mic, because I'm sick of you now.
Yeah. On top of the fact that she was directly asked about reparations for black people. Okay, Black American people, foundational Black American people. She was asked about reparations, and in return, she said that she understands why we want checks and cash payments. However, we got to understand that we get a lot of environmental justice and how the dollar goes further other places. So we got to help other people out. So and this is recorded. Okay. This is a interview she's done. And I talked about this on YouTube multiple times before. She doesn't mind putting black people in the back of the line, forcing black people in the back of the line for the interests of other groups of people. But she's not going to put black people in front of anybody. Black people can go behind, but you don't see her putting black in front of anything. You know, so that's kind of where we are like, pro-black. I mean, if she's pro-black, she's just as pro-black as pretty much everybody. Everybody's pro-black if you lowering the bar like that. That's our stance. I'm going to let you give a response to that, and then we're going to move to Jasmine.
All right, I was gonna say like maybe y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as Congress people, and I might sound really ignorant, I'm not a real political person like that, to be honest, but it's my understanding that Congress people don't have their own legislations. Like they vote on legislations on the House committee floor, but they don't have their own, like Jasmine Crockett doesn't have her own legislative policies. She's basically just a voice for her constituents that have sent her to Capitol Hill to express their concerns for what they need where she lives in North Texas. So they're voting for her, which means that I don't know what her relationship is, but they clearly like her for whatever reason. So I'm just saying that I hear what y'all are saying. But again, I feel like I don't think Jasmine Crockett's perfect. I think that like as I've watched her over the last 2 years, she's kind of got She's one second. I got you. She's gotten better at speaking. Because I do agree when she first came in, I didn't like the way she was acting. You know what I'm saying? And I can see that she's tried to refine herself a bit while she's been in Congress. I think she has a long way to go. She's definitely not ready to be president or anything like that. Like she got some years to go before
But then
in the
she shouldn't be
career.
in Congress either. So I'm
But
gonna
I
just
feel
say
like
this: she
I was
can
gonna say,
author
but hold on one
bills
second.
and
I'm not
push
done. One second, BX.
legislation.
One second. But I was gonna say, as far as her constituents, I would just say that if we feel like as Black people, we need to maybe we need to figure out what's going on in her district. That why are these Black people voting for her? And as far as reparations go, why isn't that issue being pushed in her district? That she's bringing it. Why is she not bringing that from Texas to the committee floor? I think she should, but I think a lot of this has to do with what her district wants her
As far as
represented.
that's concerned, and that's fair, and I'm gonna let BX go ahead. But trans kids playing in sports is not being pushed in her district either,
I don't agree with that. I don't agree
and
with that.
she pushes that. So you know what I'm saying? It's we're not gonna make it seem like she's completely beholden to what her district wants, because she's not. She's advocated and going against the grain on certain things. So, you know, and this is what Congress people do. They'll be all like, they'll go against the grain on what their constituents want if they want it. But then when it comes to something that they don't want to support, then it's always, you know, my constituents, they don't really like that. And there's no real political will for that right now. And it's all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because she's advocated for things that are very unpopular with her district, and unapologetically so. So I'm gonna let BX go ahead.
So
Cable
I'm really
Mover.
happy for these times. I left the Democrat Party in 2016 when I had to choose between Hillary and Trump, and everybody was pretty much anti-Trump at the time, but Hillary was no better. And I realized that America wasn't really ready for a woman, period, no matter if it was white, tea, black, brown, whatever. So I knew when Kamala was running, she wasn't getting in, but she sort of sealed the nail in the coffin with that. No, I ain't going to do anything specifically for Black people. So now when we introduce Jasmine Crockett into the mix, she can author a bill. She can ask for co-sponsors. She can push certain legislation if she wants. That's their job. Right? And I know this because thank you to New York reparationists, our activist who holds Zoom call meetings and pulls some of us in where we get to sit and ask them questions and they tell us everything that they go through. So even in New York, when they're saying we're so unified here and, oh yeah, it ain't like that in New York, we all love each other. Fat Joe said we all running around Black and Puerto Rican with mixed babies. He's lying, right? I do understand how they lock us out of government, how they do things like Jasmine did. She's championing everybody else's cause but true foundational Black American causes, and that's where we have the issue. So they have hijacked most of our movements, and notice she will not speak for Black Americans unless it has to be linked into immigrants, or she's saying we're not in the habit of giving away any money. It's her actions, and she can actually write legislation, introduce legislation, and get some co-sponsors to help her push this here legislation. That's what we elect them for. So I want us to get out of the mindset that because we are Black, we have to accept that nobody will do anything for us anyway, because that's the excuse. Oh, well, we're Black. Nobody really gonna do nothing. They can't say they ain't gonna do nothing for us. If that was the case, we wouldn't be off the plantations. We wouldn't have civil rights, all these other things. Our ancestors, right, would have never remained, had they lived all these 60 years, and maybe a little longer, I doubt they would still be championing the Democratic Party, because it's not the party of people, it's the party of slavery, and now the party of immigrants. And a lot of them were Republicans too. But I left in 2016 and went into the independent part, non-party voters category, because the Democrats don't deserve my number. They don't deserve me to be a part of their percentages. Why? Because they're not accurately or effectively supporting us. So you know the Caribbean delineated from the Black ethnonym in 2009, 2010, and you can look this up. Yvette Clarke, head of the CBC, authored the bill. And when U.S. freedmen come and say, look, we need one that makes us visible, that has some funding attached to it, she says no. But she don't even say anything. This is happening in New York. This is happening in Cali. This is happening in a lot of places that people want us to think that we're all unified and there's some type of coalition with us and any type of immigrant. What I'm telling you is you may not know a lot about politics, but you got to realize we ain't getting nothing but the short end of the stick. And Jasmine has a chance to turn it around, and she really doesn't. Environmental reparations, what is that? Why is it when it was a chance for us to get some type of rebate, even if Trump and Elon was bluffing, she said we ain't in the habit of giving away money, but sat there quietly as Cali was giving out cards with money for the people who can't go outside because they were scared of ICE. Like all type of shit is happening. All type of funding is being given to these other people, and all we saying is, well, we're black. Nobody gonna do nothing for us anyway. Or she's advocating for voting rights. Sir, why isn't voting rights secured? That's the Democratic trick bag. They dangle, oh, they're attacking voting rights. They're attacking voters' rights. They could have had it in permanent legislation by now that nobody is supposed to touch voters' rights, and this is the way it's supposed to be. You cannot tell me they couldn't have done it all by now. They need a trick bag. So you gotta, please study your government. We're getting the short end of the stick, and I'm aggravated at this
Yeah.
time.
Speaking of which, we just got a restriction
Oh, God.
For what?
that I just appealed it. The live is no longer going to be this. I just read the whole thing. It says there's not going to be any gifts for the next 10 minutes. Also, the live recommendation is also suspended. So is suspended on recommendations and search. So all of the people who are here now, they can't search and find. There's not going to be recommended no more, at least for the next 10 minutes. For what reason? And I just appealed it. I'll see what goes on. But, I don't know what was said, to be honest.
I'm like,
I think we're
yeah.
having a very civil conversation. Nobody's yelling. Nobody's saying nothing, so
You know they can share it out. Everybody
yeah,
share
everybody can
out the
still share
live.
the live. So let's tap the screen. Let's try to get the algorithm to do what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be doing.
And put it in your stories, guys.
Hmm.
So Gifted can't even send roses, huh? Yeah, for 7 more minutes, Afro.
Yeah.
Okay.
BX, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Just one quick,
So,
be brief, because then we got to get to Jasmine. So,
okay.
Oh man, you know I've been trying
But
my
go ahead.
hardest to be
I'll save it for
patient.
later.
I
I'll
know,
wait.
Jasmine.
You've
I know.
been
I
good,
appreciate you.
Jasmine. You've been good. Tonight you've been extra good. For real.
And on my highest P's and Q's, please, a beg for my African Americans. Thank you. So it's Jasmine Crockett for Black people. I'm gonna be honest. It depends on what she defines as Black. I'm actually in the state of Texas right now. You know, I'm originally from Cali, but I'm here right now. And I've been paying close attention to all of the different laws and bills and whatnot. And one of my favorite topics whenever we come back to like voting for Congress, it's Congress. No one realizes or they forget that we have 3 branches of government. We have the judicial branch. We have the legal branch with Clarence Thomas's self. I had to like restrict myself for a second. Then we have Trump, right? So there should be checks and balances, right? So I do understand where Jasmine Crockett is coming from with her like goofy video, like you didn't check in with me. Yeah, there's so many of them, right? I get it, like, but you guys aren't following any of our rules because you guys are all freaking tethers. I know people don't agree with me sometimes when I say that there are white tea tethers, but to me, everyone that is not from the USA is a tether in a different degree. But what has she done? I guess she's tried to attach herself to the forever ongoing research with HR 40. Like, how many studies and commissions do we have to put together to look at our history and show that we have been under extreme harm? Not only is our claim current, it's been ongoing. It never stopped. They like to look at us as just enslaved people, whatever, right? But they're redlining the GI Bill recipients that didn't receive their benefits because, oh, you weren't even human. The land rights, the redlining, the prison industrial complex, they keep doing it to us in different ways and forms. And it's been ongoing. So, no, this is not an old claim that we don't have a claim to. Now we're over here fighting for our IP. So no, that study that they keep trying to do over and over again, they're playing in our face. So that's one thing that Jasmine Crockett tried to like support. The voting rights protection, I don't even get that. I think that's the goofiest part of the left. Like, we got to make sure everybody has their IDs. The only people who don't have IDs are illegal immigrants. Absolutely, we have some older people in our community and we have to support each other and get our elders, even the kids too. The kids don't know how to get their ID sometimes. That's an easy fix, right? But she supports John R. Lewis's Voting Rights Advancement Act or whatever. Then also the criminal justice reform with George Floyd and policing. And I haven't looked that deep into it, but I didn't like the whole defunding the police thing. It just felt like a hashtag and whatnot. But out of all of those things, right? You know what hasn't passed? All of those things. Her HR 40 thing hasn't passed. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act blocked in the Senate. And that George Floyd Justice and Policing Act is stalled. So she's done absolutely freaking nothing. Absolutely nothing but, to me, be a moral mascot. Well, I support the Rainbow Coalition. And that doesn't even go or align with our morals and values as Black Americans because we actually used to be Republicans. She's playing in our face. I also find it goofy that people who aren't even in this state are sitting here like, we should sit here and listen to her. We should sit here and listen to her. Absolutely freaking not. Someone in the comments talked about Clarence Thomas. You know, how he's also what I would call a raccoon, respectfully. I think that's okay to say. But do you know, like last week, there was a case in Texas where this landlord, a Black landlord in Texas, wasn't getting his mail from the U.S. Postal Service. The U.S. Postal Service, right? This is a federal entity for 2 years. He took his case to the Supreme Court. Do you know that they just recently ruled that because of these silly laws, and he was trying to say that, yeah, they didn't give him his mail because he's Black. They said, oh no, there's these certain laws that are in place where that's legal, that it's okay that they won't deliver your freaking mail to you. Is that not discrimination? Look this up. Clarence Thomas is the one that's quoted for, well, yeah, the laws protect this or whatever. Is that not discrimination? Is that
It
okay?
is.
In any reality, you can't get your freaking mail because you're Black in Texas.
Yeah, that's crazy. They be doing some
Yep.
wild stuff in
Um,
Texas.
yeah, so I just say this. It may feel good. Well, she's Black, whatever. And I heard that she was freaking Haitian, to be honest. I was trying not to go there, but I heard she's Haitian. And I think that sometimes, like, these genetics and maybe these, like, conflictions in your biology makes you go with other things that make sense. But for me, there is no reality where I would sit there and support someone who hasn't done anything but make people feel good, and support values that I don't support. I don't support the LGBTQ plus IA community when it comes to mutilating kids. I don't. I think that is sick. And I'm tired of people
Pass
saying that we
us.
can't say that.
We just got restricted, so
Oh,
I
okay.
agree.
Be
Okay, I'm
I
careful.
sorry.
agree,
I'm
but
sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I
Well,
mean,
that's
we
probably
will
where
look
your restriction
back.
came from.
yeah,
No, I
now
didn't. I wasn't
now
even
I'm saying,
talking the whole time. But I'll land there for a second. But I land there.
I didn't say nothing about him when we got nothing negative about him when we got restricted. So maybe if mentioning them gets us restricted, that's crazy. Because all I did was mention them. So if that's enough to get restricted, that's kind of crazy. But yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. TikTok is something else now. Now, I do want to add, when a politician runs, they campaign on a handful of things. They might support and condone a lot of different legislation and policies and stances, but their campaign is based around a small handful of things, not a long laundry list. Okay, you can go to any presidential campaign, Senate campaign, representative, mayor, governor, all of that. They campaign off of a small handful of things, right? In those small handful of things, that is their main drive. That is their main mission. The main reason why you should vote for them is going to be what they can put on a little pamphlet. These are the main, most important things in their campaign into that politician. Now, if you go to the website, you might find some other extra stuff, but the main things are going to be on the pamphlet or on the billboard or in the commercials and things like that. All right. That's how we know the priority list of any politician, period. Okay. So if they're always talking about immigration, the minimum wage, whatever the case is, if they're talking about all these three things and then you have to ask about reparations, that means reparations is not at the front of their mind at all. That's what that means. Can y'all please let's get to 50K. Let's get to 50K likes so we can kind of work our way out of the restriction that we got. So for whatever reason we got it. I think I know why, but you know, tap the screen, please. Tap the screen. Let's get to Santa Rose. Shanta. I said Santa.
It's Shantae, but
Shantae.
I am from Texas and I despise Jasmine. Only because I think that it's not about anything but herself. This is about Jasmine. They told Jasmine that they didn't like her and they didn't want her to run when they threw her out last summer. And she was crying to stay there. And we watched it all on TV. She was crying and they had to bring her back, then escort her out again. They have already kicked her out of Texas. The money, they're not giving her any money. You guys know that money is what wins elections. She has none. The Democrats are not even backing her or her policies. They used her to just talk noise about Donald Trump and to try and sway the vote that wasn't going to happen. I don't know who got up here and lied and was like the Hispanics are voting for her. No, not in Texas. They're voting for Trump. That in Texas, those were the ones that were saying I will vote for Donald Trump. Those are those Hispanics. Texas is historically a red state. I think that she's wasting people's time, people's money, and she needs to just figure out who she is, because I don't even think she's foundational from what I've been hearing. She's definitely not from Texas, and I just think that she's just a hot ghetto mess. I think that if you're going to be in a position of power, we want to see someone with a little more poise, a little more etiquette, someone who knows politics, because everything that she says is definitely a lie. She got on the internet and said that Trump had, started a WAR, and that is just not even the truth. And I think that her lack of knowledge is what is going to help her lose the vote. She isn't for Black people. Her district in Dallas, I want to say it's the Cedar Springs area, which is one of the racist most towns in Dallas, and that was her district that they, kicked her out of. She actually doesn't really have a seat because they kicked her out of her own district in the middle of her campaign, which is really unheard of. They really don't like her. I went to her website because I was curious to see, what she was running on, guys. And the biggest thing that I noticed was her immigration reform and border security policy. She's saying on the first line that immigrants have always contributed to the fullness of this nation and continue to drive our economy and innovation and vibrancy of our communities. She says that they have contributed over $400 billion to our economy.
And so we should be fighting for their injustices. It's right here. If you guys want to go view her policies, she's standing on, LGBTQ rights, the other, unaliving of the babies. All of that is on her website. All of those things that she stands behind, they're right there in front of us for us to see. And nobody in Texas is voting for that. She's wasting her time. They're gonna run her out of Texas so fast. She gonna be on one of them shows with the Real Housewives next year. She gonna be doing something like that, sitting on somebody's podcast, probably talking to Charlamagne and them, because that's as far as she's gonna go. They're gonna run her right on up out of Texas. We don't want her there.
Yeah.
Lucia, in the chat room, if you have something to say, please hit the request button. Let's not do that. We're having a very mature conversation right now. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you disagree, we have a couple people who've disagreed, and we ain't cussed them out or banned them and drug them through the mud or nothing like that. We're having a very sophisticated, mature conversation right now. All right. So
Didn't
yeah,
DX just say something?
yeah, she did.
Can
She
I
said
say
we don't.
something, ZZ? So why is it a bad thing to be a conservative black? Like, why is it
What
a
I
bad
know,
thing for us to be a
1
conservative
minute,
black?
Jasmine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
As long as you ain't over the top. There's extremes in all things. But what did I miss? Who was being unruly? Who was being disruptive?
The cherry lady,
Oh,
Alicia,
but
baby.
you New
Lisa.
Yorkers, Yvette. So dummy, right? I do be up here speaking against Yvette Clark, and you was in the room. Your comprehension is low, and I think maybe you should just scroll on up out of here, right? Instead of being a distractor.
Yep.
Okay? And when you say New Yorkers, say immigrant New Yorkers, because Black Americans are on code.
Anyway, let's get to Rafiq. I don't know if we're gonna stay on too much longer because I don't want to risk the chance of us getting banned or messing up or nothing like that again. I don't see how this is a controversial or sensitive topic at all, and we haven't.
We ain't no crazy
This has been
trolls,
one of
nothing
our
like
most
that.
calm lives we've had in a very long time. I don't,
Yeah.
so. All right, Rafiq, you got it.
Greetings, everyone. Can I be heard?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is Jasmine Crockett for Black people? That's a joke. Jasmine Crockett is for Jasmine Crockett. She's a social climber. She's out for herself. And if you observe her policies, everything that everyone that spoke for her, everything they said, it's what's said in New York. That's a Democratic Party talking point. That's what the Democrats say. They speak on what happened, I forgot a substitute word for it, but what they do in the hospital to women who get impregnated. That's a Democrat. Immigration, Democrats. Women's rights, Democrats. Environmental, Democrat. These are just Democrat talking points. If you go across the country, you listen to everybody that's a CBC member, that's their talking point. Every last one of them. It's nothing new. But to me, just listening, the two older people, especially the older man, it's just shameful that we still think the way we do. See, I'm 61. When I hear people of my age, we should have learned from the 90s with Bill Clinton. And we still on this thing. I mean, we went through Obama. We know Jasmine Crockett's a Black woman, and that's why the Democrats put her there, because they know culturally you can't really go in on a Black woman. You can go in on a brother, but you can't. That's why everybody's somewhat offended, feeling she's a Black woman, she loves us, she cares about us. I mean, she's an immigrant. You can look at her weave. Black women of that status, that class, they wear the style, the quality of weave is much different. Her whole aesthetic, it reads of broke. That's not how a classy Black woman dresses. Even a sister from the hood with money does not carry herself as far as her style. That's an immigrant.
Well,
And that's
let me
why,
ask you, do you have anything besides her appearance? Do you have anything else to substantiate that? Because we don't want to get in trouble for spreading misinformation.
well, I can respect that. No, I'm just saying, I just look at her behavior, because that's just personal opinion.
Okay.
I mean, I think we need to be careful of her. I mean, because she's going to do the same thing what Yvette Clarke is doing in New York. I live in New York. I watched how every FBA community in New York is basically gentrified. Bed-Stuy, they have a section called Stuyvesant Heights. You know, you look at Red Hook, Williamsburg, Bushwick, Coney Island, Flatbush, everywhere we are. In Brooklyn, Harlem is like 40% FBA. They have a part of Harlem the white tees are trying to get called Sohar, to make it like a Harlem Soho. I mean, this is what's happening to us all over New York, and that's going to every state. And Jasmine Crockett, that's what she's reflecting to me, because her talking points are the same as every single Democrat. The one that was for Stacey Abrams, the old lady in California, the mayor of Chicago. I mean, wherever you go, this is how every melanated, woolly hair politician is speaking. And for me personally, I think you younger folk, I say this all the time, this is y'all time. We wasted our time.
Is this a real
y'all
person,
gotta
guys?
take this. Yes, I'm a real person.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
But
I'm gonna let you land,
Can
and
I
then
say
we're gonna have a
something?
little open panel real quick, and then we'll wrap things up.
Please.
You know.
You could land last week, but I have a little resistance to your last statement, as far as the younger generation.
And right now, I'm still, for everybody listening, I'm looking at the poll. That's why I keep looking down at my phone, because I'm consistently looking at the results. The results aren't in yet. Right now, it says she is losing behind, what's this guy's name? James.
Trudeau or something like that.
Yeah,
James Trudeau.
James
Tellerico.
Tellerico. James Tellerico. She's losing behind him. Not far, but it's when it comes to,
They just closed like an hour ago, y'all. So you can't really
yeah,
tell.
so they gotta wait for all of there's still like thousands of votes they gotta count. So they're gonna be we probably not gonna know till like the morning, to
He's
be
worse
honest.
than her. He's worse than her.
You know, but it's close. She could pull through, she could not. I don't know. But right now he's at a 51% when it comes to 51.6. She's at a 47.1, and then Ahmad Hassan is at 1.3%. I don't even know who he is, but he's clearly not winning. So, and we'll see. We'll see.
May I say something real quick?
Right now, I want my feet to land, and then I wanted to give a little rebuttal to what he said about the younger
BX
generation.
wants to say something real quick.
Oh, go ahead, BX.
no,
So, go ahead, Rafiq.
no, go ahead, please. I've already landed, please.
So I agree.
Everybody's
with
like, go ahead. Okay, you
No,
go ahead. Okay, you go ahead.
It's really nice. This is a beautiful conversation. I agree with you. The younger generation are doing the damn thing. They are an inspiration. And if you watch the civil rights old tapes, you see there was a lot of young people there too. They're doing exactly what their ancestors and elders did, and we don't expect anything less. I think that my generation, I'm 51, I think you said you're 60. I think we were the most inclusive when we were raising our children, right? And so our children in New York are pretty much off the hook, right? A lot of them are the immigrant population. But this is what I want to say. We as elders or olders in the generation don't have to just sit around and watch the young folks do the damn thing. We got to get in this battle with them, because part of this is some of our mess and the generation before us, which I think will be the boomers, right? So we can't remain silent. We can't just put the weight of all of this on their shoulders. We got to do our part too. And that's the only resistance that I had to your statement at this time, Rafiq. And I'm also
no, you misunderstood. You misunderstood.
Okay.
What I meant by it's their
That
time.
accent coming out,
See,
Rafi.
Oh,
When I was in my 20s and 30s, we didn't agree with the old heads. There's a lot of things we disagree, but we were like, they the elders. We just got to go along with it.
I got
And what
you.
I mean by them is they don't make that mistake. Y'all take the position. Those of us who are older and agree with y'all will be your guides. But if you look at every group in this country, their leadership are young men and women. We got a bunch of old people. This is y'all time, and y'all have to take it. Power is taken, not given. And I'll land with that.
I mean, that's why we're really asking a lot of questions. I think the younger generation, actually, in my opinion, I feel like they're not really dependent on the older generation no more. Because we have technology, we got social media, we're sharing information, we're reading up, we're seeing what's going on in real time, and so we're not really reaching back to the past to figure things out. We're just trying. We're piecing up. We're putting the puzzle pieces together in real time. First thing I wanted to ask a question, but my first thing I want to say, please protect Black American women. I hate disrespecting foundational Black American women, whether they are Republican or Democrat. Don't talk about foundational Black American women's appearances. First of all, you from the older generation, you should take that note with you from this panel. But what I would say is that I keep hearing that Jasmine Crockett is a Caribbean, and I hear y'all. I've Googled it. I've Wikipedia'd it. I have asked Grok about it. I have asked AI about it, and I keep coming to the same conclusion where it's saying there's no evidence that Jasmine Crockett is Caribbean or Haitian. So I'm just asking, like, where y'all getting this information, and where can I see it at? I've checked her campaign page.
Mm.
I mean, everything.
Well,
It's
And
here's
the
the
it's
thing.
the
I
it's the
said,
lack of information.
Well, you
If
know,
you're
you know
from if you're from the United States of America and you're Black American, we're gonna easily be able to say, and you'll see it. They'll say, "My mama's from North Carolina. My parents were born in Southside. My grandparents." There's no information about
no,
she has information. She has
her
yes,
family.
information.
she
No,
does. What
She
are
has
y'all talking
Wikipedia.
about?
She has
Yes, you
Wikipedia
can look it up right
information.
listen.
now.
Here's it. We as when it comes to delineation, I understand it. I totally do, and I'm all for it. I've been for it for years since I pretty much started my channel. We get it. We get it. And we do have immigrants who are in political positions, and that is a problem. I understand that.
I agree
However,
with that.
we don't do ourselves any favors by making stuff up.
Right.
Okay.
Can I say this in response to Shanta? Like she said that,
Wait,
and that
let
was
Afro land, Jasmine. Let Afro land. He was talking.
Okay.
He really was.
We don't do ourselves any favors by reaching and making things up and making people out to be something that they might not be. You know what I'm saying? We don't. So if we don't have any type of proof to substantiate it, it makes us look less serious if we trying to reach and grasp for straws just to make somebody an immigrant because we don't like them. When it comes to serious political conversations, if we're all like, well, I don't know because who eats fried chicken without hot sauce? Like, no, I
Yeah, we
don't
can't
think
do
we should
that.
be.
We
That
can't do
makes us.
that.
People take our conversations much less serious when we start doing that you know so if we don't know, we can speculate. I'm not saying speculation is bad, speculation is good, but for us to come out here and make a definitive statement off of something that is not definitive, something that is, to be honest, barely speculation, you know, just because we might dislike somebody. Like, for instance, I dislike Brandon Johnson. He dislikes me. I'm not accusing him of being an immigrant or Haitian in particular because I don't like him. I'm doing that because there's evidence surrounding that. I'm still not calling it, but I do have a theory that he is because of the evidence that I have on him. That's not proof, but I do have evidence. However, when it comes to Jasmine, I've yet to see any evidence.
Yeah. And I've been digging. I'm like digging deep for it.
Can I say this too? So we do have Democratic shields. We do have Black Americans that are off code, and we have to call them out the same way we tell the tethers to call out their off code people, right? Well, not the tethers, the immigrants to call off the tethers because the tethers are off code. So you said something interesting the other day to Born from New York. He's Haitian, and he was saying, well, we don't know if that lady's really Haitian. And you told him y'all can't just discount her genealogy because y'all not in agreement with her. And I think we have to hold ourselves to the same standard. So, the fact remains, Clarence Thomas, Jim Clyburn, we know they are foundational Black American and they are pretty much off code, correct?
Yeah,
And so
100%.
so she could very well be Black American until we have it in print, have her family tree, her DNA, anything. We just got to say she's a show for now, y'all, and that's just to
Yeah.
protect the integrity of our statement, so we don't be seen as less credible.
Yeah.
Correct, Afro?
Yes,
Correct,
that's
CC?
exactly what I'm saying. Because
Yeah.
let's say we all determine collectively she's Haitian, and then we get proof that she's not. Then the next time we make a claim, it's all like, man, y'all say anybody Haitian. Y'all say anybody y'all don't like Haitian, and y'all just be making it up. It's very important that we just don't make stuff up. It's very important that we don't, and yeah, we can. I hear a lot of things about a lot of people, but you know what I'm saying? People just make stuff up. So we have to be very clear. If we don't have any evidence, first off, in evidence, we need proof. But if we don't have any evidence to substantiate that, then it's probably best that that goes unsaid, because we can still argue on her policies and against her policies or debate her policies without even having a conversation about her lineage. Whether she's a Black American or a Haitian, I still don't agree with her policies. So I think we should keep the conversation focused on that.
I'm gonna be real though. I'm looking at these pictures of her. The wig and makeup ain't giving FBA. I'm just saying. I know we said we ain't supposed to be talking about. I'm a Black American woman. I'm gonna talk about our
I think she just
I don't know if that's
I
right.
think she just a country bumpkin. That's what I
No,
think.
I don't know. I don't even go. I grew up
Please
in
don't
North
be
Carolina. I
from New
know
York
country
saying
bumpkin.
that. Please don't be from New York saying
That ain't
that.
giving country bumpkin.
She's
I
not.
know
She's
country
not a
bumpkin.
country bumpkin. She's actually putting on a show because she's well educated and went to very prestigious schools. So this whole sister girl
I think
act
she's
is
smart.
it's
I just think
literally
she's
that.
It's
It's an
not
act.
giving. I don't know, man. It's not giving. I'm just saying. And I know. I will say,
And
Black
I'ma
American
just keep
sisters
my
in
comments to myself.
Black American sisters in politics. A lot of the times, even if we do the wigs and makeup, we wear our shit natural. Michelle Obama had a silk press. Majority of the time, she was up in fucking Congress. Okay, she was not in that bitch wearing lace fronts and wigs every time we seen her. She got a couple times. Even now, she don't wear makeup. Isn't like when she wear makeup.
And I know
You know
that
what
you
I'm saying?
guys.
It's
Somebody
natural.
said I'm sorry, ZZ. Someone said she had a Wikipedia page, but the Wikipedia page does not tell you where her parents are from.
Yeah, see, I don't know, man. I'm questionable. I'm questioning. I ain't gonna lie.
So that's why I said I'm not saying it because I know for sure. I'm just leaning that way because of the lack of information that is out there about her lineage. That's what I'm saying.
That would
You
mean
know what I
that would
mean?
mean that
I'm
she
not
is a
saying
Haitian.
speculating is a bad thing. I think it is a good thing for us to speculate.
I think we should
However,
speculate about
let's
any
just not make a
blackface that's
definitive
in a
statement. That's all I'm saying.
that's in a position of power. We should speculate who they are, especially when the agenda's not lining up. If anybody say they not rocking with reparations, because we know one of us, we gonna put the bill on the table. We gonna do what we have to do.
Let me ask
And
y'all
so
a
for you to
question,
ignore it and not act on it, that's a little suspicious.
So here's
Well,
the
I mean,
issue.
hold on. And this is the thing too, because we got FBA politicians who are not advocating for reparations.
Sure or not.
Exactly.
We don't get no, it's not like, well, FBA means reparations. No, on code means reparations.
We
Exactly.
do not HATE Haitians. Who keeps saying that in the comments? That's not
But
true.
1 minute, don't go there because this is important for us as a people. We cannot tell immigrants to call out their tethers, and we have a history of calling out raccoons. So we cannot just give it over to the fact that she may have this, she may have that. We need substantiated proof, and we have to hold ourselves to a certain standard, right? Because we
And this is
always
what I'm
have.
saying. This is what's going to make us be taken serious, and this is one thing that going forward in 2026, because it's an election year, we need to evolve, because when we like somebody, they're FBA. When we don't like somebody, well, no, I don't think you FBA then. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. We can't make nobody, or we can't have no floating rumor because we don't like somebody being, we don't want somebody to be FBA. So then we're going to culturally kind of ostracize them from the lineage. It don't work that way. You know,
I
and
feel
that,
like
and with that type of behavior, we get taken less serious as a people in a movement. So we gotta have some type of proof. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times with the immigrants, the tethers, when they do get achievements, like she made it to Congress, a lot of times they advocate for their immigrant side, like, oh yeah, my parents are from Haiti, and look how far I made it. So if she's not exposing that, then she's actively hiding it. Like she's literally taking documents off of line so that she's not exposing her heritage, which is a lot of work. But like I said, yeah, but
Well, let's get to delineation, as he hasn't spoken yet.
All right, thank you, player. Good conversation. I did some digging while y'all guys was talking. Right, first things first. She's a Delta. These are the same D9 people that messed up reparations in California. First and foremost. Second thing, she's connected to SEIU, which is the union. That union is known to help out immigrants. The union also was a part of the reparations task force in California, has undermined reparations. 2 strikes. And I ain't playing no 3 strikes. We're gonna keep on going. She's pushing for affordable higher education. That ain't for Negroes. That's for illegals and immigrants. We got to keep it a full stack and a full band. She does talk about criminal justice reform. They try to throw that for us, but you know how they water that stuff down. She talks about disability rights. All lives matter. She did push for HR 40. We already know that's a Dunsky. She's talking about tax exemption for black people. Yeah, whatever. Then she's talking about truth, reconciliation, and racial. Wherever they call that, healing and transformation. So therefore, she ain't really pushing lineage-based nothing if she's talking about racial. We all know that. So this woman ain't for us. She ain't standing for us. For us to even play these games to act like she is, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And we still ain't learning from no Barack Obama. Y'all still getting drunk off that. Some of y'all still getting drunk off that Obama juice, if you asking me. And that's just how I feel about it. Because anybody who's a D9, we need to be looking at them sideways. Anybody's connected to these unions that messed up reparations, we need to look at them sideways. Straight up and down, because these are the people that obstructed us from getting our repair and violated our human rights. That's what I just wanted to check. And also that guy, that James guy that you brought up, yeah, he got a little interesting. What's different between them is how they view ICE and what they're advocating in regards to illegal immigrants and how they want to handle the situation. He's more inclined to win based off of his plan. I don't think she's going to hold the test of time against this dude, and it's going to be by a small margin. So that's what I'm just seeing just by looking at both of their platforms, both of their websites, and going back and forth. That's all I wanted to chime in about. I just want to get right to the meat and potatoes of the thing.
All right, yeah, that's true. As far as the D9 and all those fraternities and sororities and all of that stuff, that can be a whole nother conversation. Everybody who's Greek, everybody who's this, everybody who's that, you know what I'm saying? That can be a whole nother conversation. Let's be honest, because a lot of that is a red flag. I'm not gonna say you a sellout, but a lot of that I'm all like, yeah, that's red flags right there. I got to double check on you. But you were about to ask something. We're about to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes or so we can have an open panel type thing.
okay.
Where people get to.
I was just gonna ask about the whole D9 thing because my mom was in a sorority, so
see it goes to home, huh?
Yeah, and my sister too, and it's pretty much a family thing in my family. For the females in my family, I have 2 uncles that were in a fraternity, but a lot of my aunts were a part of the D9. So what is fill me in. What is the gripe with that? Help me understand that. Because it's celebrated in my family for people to go to college and be in a sorority, and it's really pushed and it's an honor. So give me some info on that.
Can I be right up the middle with them?
Go ahead.
Okay, the reason why I personally, being a person who's been through grad school and all that, I don't rock with D9. I think D9 is a major problem with our community because one, they take up different places in our community of influence, even from the church aspect, the spiritual aspect. The pastors that are screwing up, majority of them are D9, right? Like what's that guy? There's a couple of them. You got Bishop Tabitha Swan, he on deck. You got and I kind of like his personality, but I know that he ain't for us. He's talking that black and brown stuff. He's pushing all this other stuff that is confusing in our community. That Bryant guy, he's another D9. I could go through a list and run through the different pastors that are very problematic in a spiritual sense that is putting us behind as a people. So that's one strike. The other strike is when you look at the reparations task force, they claim themselves only 10. They're the talented 10th. They make up 10% of the black population. Blah 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 blah. But they make up the majority of each one of these reparations task force, and we have not gotten reparations yet. That's a second strike. Do you want me to keep going? Because the strikes are going to keep mounting up, and I'm going to put charges on them. I don't like them. I think they're demonic, and there's some wicked people that are against the advancement of our people. Plain and cut and dry and simple.
Have you? I mean, I hear. I don't hear what you're saying. I mean, I respect your opinion.
They also control the media.
I'm like, I agree. Honestly,
They control our media.
they definitely gatekeepers.
We could also go to the police.
They're the politicians. Like he was saying, they're the chiefs of police. Any high position at a high ranking military personnel who went to college, any area that we exist in there's a hierarchy there that you can find them ruling it. Everywhere.
Can we talk about those police officers that beat up that young brother and unalived him? Yeah, 3 out of 5 of them were Omegas. So I know what I'm talking about. That these people are how can you say you're your brother's keeper and you're harming your brother? They ain't no brother of mine. And we need to be be banning them. We need to honestly be banning them from the community, if you ask me. If I see some of them, we need to run them off the block. Don't even recruit around here. It kind of need to be on that type of time. But I might be a little too rough on some of y'all young people.
Yeah, and we don't want to completely deter from what we were talking about before. So that was just to answer that question about the D9 thing. But yeah, somebody in the chat room, I should be at 100K likes right now, but they hating on me. They hating on me real bad. It's okay. I'm used to it. It comes with the territory. But we can start wrapping things up there. We'll give everybody their final word. Everybody a good minute to get their final word out, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
I'll be out of y'all's hair. I hear what everybody's saying on the panel tonight. I think that one of the key things I think that we should probably add to this step of delineation and observing our politicians and things like that is holding them accountable a little bit more. I do feel like we're valid and our concerns are valid, but I think where we're dropping the ball at and where YT people, because you got a restriction, are kind of advancing at is that we're not holding these politicians accountable. We're not really going to these committee meetings like a lot of these YT people. A lot of times these committee meetings are filled with older YT people. The room is filled with older white people, and it's a handful of black people or some minorities, immigrants. And so I think we need to start going to more committee meetings en masse. Your entire black community, as many people as you possibly can, your family, your friends, your neighbors. And this is where you can express your grievances to these politicians and let them know, like, look, we're listening, we're watching you. Because if they don't think we're listening, if they don't think we're watching, they don't think we care. And they're not going to really put any type of policies forward or plans forward for us directly. So I would just say that one thing, what did our elders do back in like the 60s, the 70s, 50s that we're not doing? They were active. They held these people accountable. They had boots on the ground with these politicians. They were at the rallies. They were involved from top to bottom because their lives were on the line. And I think we've gotten to a point of complacency a complacency, comfort, and just complaining. And I think our grievances are valid, but I just think we need to really put boots to the ground, go to these meetings, voice our concerns, and let these people know that we're counting on them to do what we're demanding them to do. And if they don't, then we're going to hold them accountable. But that's all I would say. That's the only thing where I feel like we are missing in this whole process. But I appreciate you bringing me up, and y'all have a good night.
All right.
Can I go
Appreciate the
after him?
conversation. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can echo that as well. Definitely get involved from your local politics, understand your state structure, and also support the federal level. So I agree with that. I did look up Jasmine Crockett. Her parents are Gwen and Joseph Crockett. Her grandparents are Willie Crockett, Edna Lee Hughes, Roscoe Raleigh Johnson, and Julia May Robinson. This is going back to the 1800s. So I do not think she has an immigrant background. I do agree, Afro, that we really have to do our research for this stuff. You know, stop really trying to accuse people of having different backgrounds when you can at least try to find public information on them. But yeah, I think it was a great panel. That's all I have to have.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see. Nisha, are you with us still?
Yeah. I don't really have much of anything to say. I guess I could say one thing I think we have to be honest about is that progress in politics doesn't happen if we tear down our black leaders. Jasmine Crockett, she does represent Texas, the 30th district. It's a historic black political district in the state. She does have a background as a civil rights attorney because she has worked on issues like voting rights, criminal justice, and protecting people's civil liberties before she even went into Congress. So she's also been outspoken about protecting voting access and addressing policies that disproportionately impact Black communities in the South. In a state like Texas, where political power has not always been evenly distributed, having someone who understands those issues and is willing to speak about them publicly is significant. But beyond any single policy, there is a bigger point. I feel like if we want to see more change, like what he was saying earlier, more representation and more influence for Black communities, we kind of have to stop expecting perfection from every Black politician, because I feel like that's giving everybody else room to grow. Constructive criticism is healthy, but constantly tearing down only weakens our own political leverage. So yeah, that's
Can I ask you a question? What would you say the difference is between, because we hear this often. We hear we got to hold them accountable. We have to hold them accountable. And then when we are having a conversation, now mind you, we're not out here just dragging her through the mud, but we're out here
Well, not y'all specifically. I just mean like how we had the other men on here earlier, talking, downplaying her hair, and I just feel like there's a lot of boxes, and I'm like, so it's like, does every Black political leader have to be perfect? Do they have to tick off every single box?
That's disingenuous. That's a disingenuous argument right there. That ain't nowhere near what has been said throughout this whole panel, is that they got to be perfect. If we wanted a perfect damn candidate, there's plenty of people that wouldn't have got elected. We have plenty of imperfect fucking candidates. What are we talking about?
I know,
So
but
that's
I'm
very
just saying,
disingenuous
like,
of you to say that.
I feel like, y'all were really basically focusing on, her policies about immigration and transgenderism, and I forgot what the other policies.
No, the main concern was that Black people was at the bottom of the list.
Right, but
Reparations is not at the forefront of her policies.
But let me
That's
ask
not
y'all this.
perfection. That's pretty bare damn minimum, honestly.
But let me ask y'all this though. So when was the last race policy law that has been put into law or legislation?
No. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna stay right where we at.
we're not asking
We're not gonna keep this going too long. We're gonna keep it
we're
right
not
where we
asking for a race policy. We're asking for a lineage-based policy.
Right. I know,
Lineage-based
but okay, you're right. But what I'm saying is, this is how I feel, right? I feel like stuff only benefits Black people, or like policy that benefits Black people kind of rolls down to us. Like, Basically we're underneath this umbrella and we just get drizzled on, and those are the type of benefits that we receive.
And and
Wow,
and the
I ain't feeling
reason
this.
why, hold on, man. The reason why is because we're thinking the way you're just saying. The reason why is you're thinking that it's okay to support someone who puts you at the back of the line. That's why we get the crumbs and why we get the scraps of whatever is left is because we have conditioned ourselves to believe that it is okay to vote for somebody and to put people in power who make it clear that we're at the back of the line. And when do we break that cycle?
Well, up here when I said our ancestors went for the, oh, we shouldn't expect too much anyway. You think they would have accepted a drizzle? You said we accepting drizzles.
No, I'm
Like our
saying that's what
ancestors
we get.
wouldn't, huh?
I'm
Right,
saying,
we're accepting that because you're
no,
up here. She's the drizzle. She's the main drizzler. She
no,
understands we're getting drizzles, and when she has the perfect opportunity to advocate for foundational Black Americans, she's not. She's advocating for the, you just said it, transgenders, immigrants, all this other stuff.
I just feel that Black Americans receive anything, or if they do anything for Black Americans, is by mistake. Like they were trying to help another
But you know
demographic,
this, so why
and we
you
just
up
so
here
happened to get it.
still
But you
advocating
came
for
up here and
somebody
said
who
she
won't
was
put us
pro-black.
first?
You said she was
He is
pro-black,
pro-Black.
and now we kind of debunked that narrative. Now you're saying, well, it don't matter, kind of,
Right.
or yeah, it's enough.
This is crazy.
You know,
Yeah, this
when
is
do
Okay, well
my
now I'm
question is?
offended.
I want you to think about this. When
See,
do we
now
get a
people are
pro-black?
questioning where I'm from, and now I'm a tether. Like he
No,
just
no,
feels like
man.
y'all
Hold
should
I mean,
on.
you
be.
might
Who
be
Nobody on
said
the
right.
that on
panel
the
is saying
panel?
that. Don't do that. Nobody on the panel saying that. But what we're
Right.
Hey,
saying is
word,
that
man.
on the panel, we disagree with that because now it seems as if when it comes to immigrants, when it comes to any other community, I'm not even gonna say their name no more. When it comes to any other community, the goalpost is stagnant. When it comes to Black people, the goalpost is way back over there in the distance and all of that stuff, and we can never reach that. You know, why don't we have the same standard and requirements or demand the same standard and requirements that she's going to give to immigrants, she gives to Black Americans specifically? The same advocacy and energy, okay? That's what we're saying. And we're saying that we see a lack of that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all for letting me up here. I love my FBAs. I'm not a tether to
Maybe you a
people
shield
in
though. I don't
politics.
know.
I'm from Texas. My people's from Mississippi and Louisiana. But y'all have a great night. I appreciate it.
Now, let me
Peace.
ask you a question. Before you go,
Hmm.
you said something about you like her stance on women's rights, her stance on, what do you like her stances on?
What you say? I liked her stance on women's rights.
You said something about that when you first came in.
Um,
That was because you asked her what was the litmus test. She said women's rights
Yeah,
was
what was the
part of the
limits?
litmus
Yeah,
test.
well, you said something about that.
Oh yeah, you had asked me like what would be the thing that I would need in order for, and I told
Hmm.
you that it couldn't just be one thing. I was talking about racial, racial stuff for our race, racial reforms, voting reforms. I know people don't feel like that's a big deal, but it
Hold
is.
on, hold on, hold on. You understand that race is unconstitutional, right? Under the United States civil rights laws, right? It's unconstitutional. Afro just said we're asking for lineage based. Why are you stuck on race? I also said when I read when you said she's for reparations and everybody went to looking it up, I said she's race based and also using the wrong verbiage. So if you know based off of our statements, we'll never get race based reparations. Why are you stuck there? Why are you stuck on race? Why are you not asking questions about what we mean by lineage as opposed to race? We'll never get
She ain't called
nothing
talking
under
point
race.
right there.
You also said black people are getting the drizzle.
Yeah, we are.
Race, we won't even get a drizzle. Why are you stuck on race?
Okay, so you're talking about a lineage, right?
Can you
That's what
answer
the
why you're stuck on
confusion.
race? Do you
Because
understand what
I mean,
lineage
I just
is?
thought Black Americans. I know that obviously not all Black people are, FBA, but when I say
So
Black,
you're
I'm
advocating
talking
for
about our
everybody,
lineage.
like the immigrants who are erroneously
No,
identified as
I'm
black,
not.
correct?
No, I'm not. I don't believe immigrants should receive reparations. I believe
But who
only
are
Black
other
people should
black
receive
people besides
reparations.
black Americans?
I don't know. You said that. I'm confused.
No, you're
You
not. You're not
confused me.
confused, ma'am. You're stuck on race. You know that the immigrants are identified racially as black. You know that.
Uh huh.
And then you said we. I know that not all Black Americans. You know they consider blah blah blah. So, ma'am, why are you stuck on race if we're operating off of lineage? That's all. Do you think? Who do you think is supposed to be getting reparations with us? Why do you want
I
race-based
just told
policies?
you, black Americans should receive reparations.
That's our estimate.
Children of chattel slavery.
Okay, good. That's lineage.
So
That's lineage. That's not
right.
race. Okay,
Right. So
but
I just so just
you've been
understand. Okay.
emphasizing that.
I'm not here to disrespect you, BX, at all.
No, no,
But
no, no.
I'm here
Okay,
to learn. I'm a
good.
baby FBA. Okay.
You
So
said a
just
baby FBA.
yes.
Okay, don't pull at my heartstrings. Don't pull at my heartstrings. Let me get this out, Nisha. You can't say race based. Race based. For the most part, would include the Africans. It would include the Caribbean, and even some Afro Latinos have. And I'm going through this in experience in New York, right? They are literally showing up talking about their Black Puerto Ricans. They are literally showing up saying, "Yes, let's call ourselves Afro descendant because I am Haitian." That is what race based gets us, Nisha.
Okay,
Puerto
and
Ricans,
I don't
Haitians,
believe
Caribbeans,
I don't believe the Caribbeans or the Africans. No, I don't believe that we're the
or
same.
the
I don't believe
Afro
they should
Latinos.
receive
You
the
got to put them in there
reparations.
too.
Right, any
Good.
of them.
So
I don't believe any of them should receive reparations at all.
good. We getting somewhere. So
My
you gotta. That's not race. You gotta go off lineage base.
Okay, so
my
Lineage.
I
thing.
misspoke.
Hold on.
I
Yeah,
apologize
you
about
did. But
that.
the reason I asked you that question is because a lot of times people like when a politician advocates for maybe some other intersectional community that they are also a part of, and they want black support, but really they're aligning themselves with a politician based off of another policy that doesn't have to do with black people. So they're trying to give them these pro-black accolades to get black people to support them. But really, the reason why you're so gun-ho for her is because of another policy. So that's why I was asking, okay, you said the whole thing about women's reproductive rights and all that stuff. Is that the selling point? And now you're trying to give her pro-black credentials layered on top of
My,
that.
yeah, my biggest thing, like I was saying, that I do love about Jasmine Crockett is what she did for the felons as far as helping them get voting rights and like I was mentioning the voter reform. Um,
Okay.
I mean, and she used to be like, I mean, I love her. I do. I don't
All
really
right. I
have,
mean, hey, okay.
I don't see anything wrong, but I will say this. I just found because I was gonna, y'all maybe pull up my laptop. She did say that she only believes that it should go to people who are descendants of slaves, not other Black Americans. And I can actually give y'all that source if you want.
She called
So
the ancestors African enslaved.
she said prior to the new proposal, Crockett stated that she believed that reparations should only go to people who are descendants of slaves, not other Black Americans. An
Right.
effort like this would have
Who
to
are
have a
other
solid
Black
plan
Americans?
to make it a success. And I think you mentioned earlier, BX, how she had did a study, to see,
She's for studies. She's
right,
for
she's for the
studies.
study, yes. But that literally came out her mouth that she, is for reparations. Now, is she saying that, on TV? Is she making her talking point? But I mean, we're talking about Texas here, y'all. Texas used to be Mexico. So immigration is
No, but
one of the
wait,
number
slow
one
down, slow
things.
down. Because I read a couple of, you know how they give you more than one link, like they give you a little bit of a link, right? And it's up to you to click the link and read further. She did mention our ancestors as being enslaved Africans or Africans who were enslaved. Did you read all of the,
I'm not sure what are you looking at,
okay.
the Euroweb.com? What are you looking at? Or what
No, I'm looking
article
at
are
the
you looking
Google
at?
AI overview.
Okay. No, I actually went into the and she was on the Black Lawyers podcast, and that's what she was
Okay.
talking about on this podcast. Reparations was brought up.
Now, she said
Um,
she didn't use U.S. chattel slavery. She used descendants of those. Say it again. Say it again. What she
Let me
said.
pull it up one more
Descendants
time.
of American
She said
slavery.
prior to the new proposal, Crockett stated she believed that reparations should only go to people who are descendants of slaves, not other Black Americans, like the people you were talking about, the Caribbeans, the Africans, and all the other ones. Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is the African American. Yeah. So that's what she
So
said
I'm
on
gonna
her
just tell you this.
podcast.
I'm gonna tell you this, right? They're not Black American, but I'm gonna tell you this too. If we don't put U.S. chattel slavery, here comes the Haitians. We're the true. We're part of the Americas. Here come the Jamaicans. We're part of the Americas. So I'm not saying that she is wrong for. She may have very well meant it the way that it should be meant, but I'm telling you, as somebody who's going to be on these panels, it's sort of giving your opinion. It's important to have it substantiated that we're talking about U.S. chattel slavery, because when you use just America, now all of a sudden everybody want to be American. You
She
see what
said
I'm
not
saying?
other. She said not other Black Americans.
Right, and they
People
shouldn't
who are
even be
descendants of
identified
slaves.
as Black Americans.
Right.
But
I
no,
agree.
this is what I'm telling you. I'm off Jasmine Crockett. What I'm
I
telling
agree.
you is that you need, when you're speaking, I'm just giving you a pointer here, right? Because you're going to be on these panels, correct? Okay. So everybody else in the room, if we don't stick to U.S. chattel slavery, when you bring up American slavery, that gives the other people, those other people, the Caribbean, to say that they're American too because they're on the North American continent. That's all I was doing, giving you a talking point, trying to put the correct verbiage in your lexicon. That's all,
Hey,
Nisha.
can I comment on something real quick?
We'll give you guys
So,
your last couple statements and then we'll wrap it up.
all right. So one of the things I get concerned when women say that they talk about the reproductive rights, but they don't really talk about the infant mortality rates that plague our black women, right? That specifically target black women. That will be a pro-black stance within the female reproductive rights. And I didn't hear the woman that was advocating for that take that type of stance. So therefore, she would not be pro-black because she's talking about a policy that will impact everybody. A part of holding accountability is making sure that the person who is representing, if they're not representing our stuff, is to stop them from getting into office. You don't hold people accountable by letting them get into office and then try to do something about it. It's being proactive and actually stopping them prior to set a standard and say that this is the expectation. And that's one of the things I didn't hear that was discussed on the panel, and we should be doing that. And
Yeah.
I think that we're actually are doing that right now in regards to having this conversation and saying, hey, this is the expectation and the standard that we expect that our candidates are running in our district to have, no matter where we're at. We want reparation on top of the ticket, not the bottom of the ticket, not the middle of the ticket. We want it on the top of the ticket. We have other issues that we want that needs to be at the top. And if you're not representing of the top, then we have a right to say that you don't have our vote. That is our God-given right. Dr. Claude Anderson, since everybody talk about him a lot, he also talks about the power of the vote and actually withholding our vote when candidates do not meet our expectation. We have to look at our vote as currency. So, yeah, I have a strong issue when I hear a woman just saying, well, reproductive rights, but don't specify specifically for us. That will make it pro-black, not just reproductive rights. We got to know the difference.
Alrighty then. Alrighty.
All right. Well, I
Let's.
appreciate y'all. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
this was a good conversation. Thank
Yes, it
you.
was. I appreciate it. Thank you, BX. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Let's
Welcome.
get to Rafiq.
Yes. Hello? Yeah, y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to say this as far as what I said before about the young folks. It's like I look at you, Afro Elite. You should be what Roland Martin wish he was. I've watched you grow over the years. You should be a household name. You have a great platform.
Thank you.
You're very well spoken and you have a good look. You should be someone that we all know, because I remember back in the 90s, everybody knew Roland Martin. Everybody should know Afro Elite, young men like yourself, because you're bringing about a lot of changes with this podcast you have. And I think you should be exposed more. You, young men like you, are what we need mainstream. That's a necessity in our community. And I just will end with that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You know, I appreciate your support and I appreciate that. That means a lot. All right. Speaking of the podcast, glad you brought that up. Y'all go to For the Culture on YouTube and then y'all can listen to the playback once we premiere that. All right. So go to For the Culture on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. That way y'all can listen to the playback and all of the other good educational stuff we got up there. All right. ZZ, any final words?
Final words, man. Yeah. I guess the proof will be in the pudding. We're gonna have to let it unfold and see if she really for us or not. But I do think, like we've discussed multiple times throughout this panel, reparations is a clear telltale sign. You know, if that's at the bottom of her list, hey, look, I ain't gonna mark her off, but I can't trust it. So, you know, again, I'll watch from a distance and keep my eye on her to see how it unfolds and see what happens. But yeah, please don't fall for these narratives that we're just looking for a perfect candidate or we just gotta choose somebody, the lesser of two evil. I'm sorry, I'm just not with that plantation way of thinking. There is no such thing as lesser of two evils. No, we're gonna pick somebody on code or we ain't gonna pick nobody at all. I think it's very simple. Other than that, shout out to the shout out to the panel. It was a good conversation, you know. Thank you for the gifts.
Okay. Yep. Yes, indeed. BX, can you close us out?
Sure, Afro. When's the next time you coming live on TikTok?
It's tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm not sure. If that'll be
Oh,
Wednesday or Thursday.
no problem. I've been asking myself a couple of questions like where did the term or calling out children YNs come from? I personally like YGs, young gods. Some people say YK, young kings. And that leads me into this question. Who told us that we're black anyway, so nobody's going to do nothing for us? Because I'm going to hold myself accountable. Yeah, well, you know, we're black. That's what we're just not going. We have to get out of that mindset. And I think part of that mindset is what keeps us latched on there tightly to the Democrats. It seems like Nisha seemed to get it at the end, and I'm not picking on her, but before then, she was kind of singing, standing firm for Jasmine Crockett. And it's just amazing that we know that we don't get anything. I don't even think there's a trickle down effect. There's no drizzle down effect, really, because we don't know if those melanated people get it or what they say is black are truly black Americans, that 3% or that 2 to 4%. But we do know that the Caribbean locks us out. We know the Haitians lock us out. We know the Africans lock us out. The Somalis have a caucus. They're damn sure locking us out. We know the Hispanics are locking us out, and the Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders. So we have to hold and we can dissect Jasmine Crockett's policies and understand that even if we got some trickle-down effect, as the lineationist just reminded us, reparations is not at the forefront of what she's advocating for. And that has to change, people. And that's not being bigoted. That's not being prejudiced. That's not being HATE-ful. That's putting ourselves first, as everybody else, every other demographic has been doing to us for so long. They've been putting themselves first.
Let me also add this. A lot of people who want a politician to run and they don't want to seem like a shill, they'll say, okay, well, you know what? There's a lot on the line when it comes to this election, so let's just vote for her right now, and then we'll hold her accountable later. Okay. I don't have an issue with holding them accountable, but then when we have a live where we're not speaking favorably about this person, they'll say we're bashing this person. You know, anytime you say something negative about this person, you're bashing this person. Okay. So where does holding them accountable stop and then bashing start? Or is it that you don't want them to be talked about negatively at all? You don't want any accountability. You're just saying that so you don't come off as a shield for that person. And a lot of people who like to postpone accountability, they don't want accountability to ever come. Okay? They're just being a shield and trying to disguise that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what is this if not holding her accountable for what she's done in her record and her stances on things? So yeah, all of that, you're bashing, we can't beat them up, we can't bash them, we got to stop bashing. No, you mean blindly support them. Blindly supporting somebody is not the opposite of bashing them. Let's not do that. I just wanted to add that before we close.
Also, Brother Divine has entered the chat and he says, I just seen it. Let's sign the contract first, then negotiate the details, and I'm going to drop the U.S. Freedmen's Call to Action, the U.S. Freedmen's Project Call to Action. Hold down my comment, copy the link to your clipboard, and go ahead and get those emails signed. That way, all his hard work is supported, right? Because New York FBA does need assistance in getting a constitutionally sound reparations bill, a delineation bill, and also Brooks Baby. What I call Brooks Baby is getting somebody from Numbers USA to show how all immigration has harmed foundational Black American communities, not just the melanated folks, but the Irish, the Italian, the this and that and the third. So yeah, I'm gonna drop that now, and then you can go ahead and tell them to go to what is
Yeah,
it?
go to For the Culture on YouTube. Y'all can go to,
Yeah.
there's a For the Culture page on TikTok. You know, we're gonna be posting clips and stuff like that up. So you can go to For the Culture on TikTok. You can go to For the Culture on YouTube. That's the main thing. For the Culture on YouTube. And you know, Instagram and all that other stuff. But For the Culture on YouTube is where the playback of all of the TikTok lives and the podcasts and all of that stuff. That's where that is. So you want to go there. Now, with that being said, it's a little later than normal. We've had like some technical issues before, and now we getting suspended now, so we got to wrap things up. But this has been a productive conversation, a very mature conversation, and I appreciate everybody who came up, even the people who disagree. It's good that we were able to have civil disagreements. So there wasn't no yelling back and forth. You were saying, we didn't do none of that. We stayed very mature and sophisticated. All right. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody for liking, gifting when you still could before we got suspended, but liking, gifting, and all of that stuff. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. If you are listening on YouTube on the playback, shout out to you. Shout out to you for that. So thank you. And now with that being said, you all have a good rest of your night.
Be one.
Peace. Be one.